When you see that scoreline, absolutely unbelievable.
Squidge Rugby versus Siv and Ngesi in Vodacom United Rugby Championship, North versus South.
It's Vodacom URC North versus South with my brother Squidge Rugby. Squidge, it's knockout rugby, KO rugby.
It's time. We're here. It's the end of the regular season. That's done. Forget about that. Forget about the rest of it. It's into knockout rugby time. We have the final weekend. We know who the final 8 teams are, and we know who everyone is playing in the quarterfinals.
Let's be honest, Squidge. The last round of Vodacom URC was action-packed, tries left, right, and center. People fighting for home quarterfinal games. It is action-packed. I look forward to what's happening. Last round, it was next level. Vodacom Bulls versus Leicester, 62-7 to Vodacom Bulls. I just want to say, as a man from the South, it was a second to third string Leicester team. I have to mention it before you mention it.
But this is the thing. So I was in the Principality Stadium for the Judgment Day games, the head-to-head, the back-to-back games between the two Welsh sides, 2 games between the 4 Welsh sides. And I didn't have any signal all day. And then one of the Osprey social media team, as it happens, pulled me aside and went, "Have you seen the Bulls score?" And I was like, "Oh, are they when I heard they were beating Leinster, I thought, oh, they'll be 3 points ahead." No! When you see that scoreline, absolutely unbelievable. And yes, you can say it's Leinster's whatever team, right? Their C team, their D team normally beats everyone else. So to have them dismantled like that is unbelievable. Leinster's biggest ever loss, the heaviest they've ever suffered in the league. Absolutely phenomenal performance by the Bulls. You can't, as much as you can say things about the strength the team Leinster put out, you can't take anything away from how good the Bulls were that day.
Let's talk about how well Munster has travelled South Africa, because Munster has been doing some unbelievable things. They beat DHL Stormers to end their run of being unbeaten rugby. But they actually came back from behind to draw with South Sea Sharks 22-22.
It's amazing. They started the season slightly shoddily. There was talk of were they in crisis, etc. But new coach Graham Roundtree's really turned things around. They've really bought into it, and they were fantastic in that comeback. What a feat coming away with a win and a draw, which I think is probably the best any Northern teams come away from one of these mini tours they've been doing. And now no one will want to play them coming into those knockout stages.
Now, what I'm about to say now, it doesn't matter if you love Southern Hemisphere rugby or Northern Hemisphere rugby. If you love rugby, you wouldn't have liked to see our captain courageous Sia Khaleesi getting an injury.
No.
We hope he gets well soon. We hope we're able to see him in the World Cup rugby. I love all the way. And for me, let me just name drop. I'll just give him a call a little bit later to check on his health, because obviously Sia Khaleesi is my friend, you know what I mean? Let's talk about the knockout rugby. It's going to be 5th and 6th of May. Let's talk with one that some people would say it's quite an easy draw for Ulster, but you say it could go a little bit, you never know what could happen. It is Ulster versus Connacht.
This is it. Big Irish derby, huge game. Ulster will be very happy. They've not just got the home draw, but they've got the Friday night draw. They adore it. It's the best atmosphere. However, Connacht are the sort of team that just brings surprises every now and again. You think they're going to be sort of middle of the table thereabouts, but not quite cutting it. And then they'll suddenly produce a big performance out of nowhere. They very almost beat Leinster early in the season. We've seen them go away and produce some big results, such as to get the Ospreys out in Italy, all over the place. So this could be interesting. You've got to fancy Ulster as favourites, but this could get interesting.
All right, what's your prediction?
I'm going to say Ulster by 8. They kind of see it out late on.
All right, I say Ulster by 9. I think Ulster by 9. Okay. The ones to beat, who have finally lost the last game against, let's say, let's be truthfully honest, it was a C to B string team that was beaten by Vodacom Bulls. It's Leinster versus South Sea Sharks.
This could be very interesting. The Sharks, again, they're the sort of team similar to Connacht who will spring a big performance out of nowhere, but I really feel like they don't spring as many big performances as you'd expect from a team with that sheer quality. However, can you write a team that includes Lakan Yuam, Ibn Etzebeth, Stephen King? You can just keep going out on and on and on and on and on forever, naming that Sharks team. However, they are headed to the RDS to Dublin to play Leinster, maybe the most daunting task in all of club rugby. And you can't see beyond Leinster. I think we're looking at Leinster by maybe 15 here.
As a man from the south, it's hard for me to do what I'm about to do. But even I say Leinster will take it. I think it'll be Leicester by 12. The next one, Glasgow Warriors versus Munster.
This is interesting. This is quite exciting. Glasgow, one of the teams who perform best at home. They don't lose a lot of games at home. They don't pick up that many on the road, as many as maybe some other teams, but they're phenomenal at home. And yet Munster, who've built this real away record over the last few years, it's almost lined up perfectly for those two to go against each other. And Glasgow probably should start as favourites, but I quite fancy Munster to sneak this. I'm going to say Munster by 2. Really, almost the Ronan O'Gara of days of old, sneaking it right in the final play type deal.
Any team that can beat DHL Stormers and take away their long record of being unbeaten definitely gets my vote. I say Munster will win it by 6. Featured match of the week. I will be there at DHL Stadium, my kingdom, my home in the mother city, one of the most beautiful stadiums in the world. It is DHL Stormers versus Vodacom Bulls. It's a repeat of last year's final, my friend. And what a final it was. I was there. I was on the field. I was screaming and shouting. What do you feel about this particular game, brother man?
I'm very excited about this. This could be the real game of the weekend. This is the big lineup, as you say. Repeat of the final. You've got the Bulls, who perhaps start the season slowly, but have just got better and better and better. And you could argue, have they peaked with that win over Leinster? Or are they just improving? Are they just building? Is it just part of their upwards trajectory towards going one better than last time? You've got Jake White this week has come out in the press and been very upfront, saying he thinks his style of rugby can beat any team, and that includes Leinster and that includes the Stormers, who are arguably, you might say, the two best teams in the competition. And so I think this is far more interesting than perhaps you'd say when you look at the DHL Stormers record in DHL Stadium. I think this could potentially go either way, though I think the Stormers have to enter as favourites. I'm going to say the Stormers by 3.
I just want to say, I want to remind everyone that DHL Stormers has beaten Vodacom Bulls 5 games to 0. I just want to remind you that it is a big game. It's not just DHL Stormers versus Vodacom Bulls. It is Jake White versus Dobbo. That is the one. That's another little battle happening off the field for me that I'm absolutely loving. But as an absolute dear supporter of DHL Stormers, I want to add that they did have a lot of injuries against Benetton. There were a lot of injuries, and I hope that doesn't affect us. But I look forward to seeing a lot of tries running through. As we know, DHL Stormers does sometimes start a little bit slow, but as soon as that, what we call Gees, keeps going at DHL Stadium, they end up finishing very well. And Bulls are very confident after last week's game. Very confident after absolutely annihilating Leicester by too many tries. I say DHL Stormers by... this game is going to be quite an interesting one. DHL Stormers really does start slow. Second half, they pick it up a bit. So I say DHL Stormers by 5. Brother Squidge Rugby, I look forward to it. We'll be on WhatsApp chatting as we usually do about each game. I look forward to the next one. It is an unbelievable week of rugby. It is Vodacom URC 2023 season. It's going on. It's knockout rugby. Squidge Rugby. I'll see you next week. Booyah!
I'll see you then. Knockout rugby time is here in the middle between, and I'll see you then. It just keeps getting better and better.